Hello there and welcome back to your final opportunity to get hold of the current one-day special. It's a brilliant deal. If you've not seen it yet, stay tuned. You're going to see some magic appear before your eyes, and the magician in this hour is the fabulous Catherine.
Hello.
And I've had such fun in the last 24 hours because I've learned so much.
Oh, I am pleased.
This is an area that I don't really know an awful lot about, I have to say, and it's been really, really interesting listening to the tips and the hints, and of course having the right tools for the job as well.
Exactly.
It's
yes.
paramount. And that's what we've got with the one-day special.
Exactly. We've got a great bundle here. Lots going on within this bundle. So shall we just start with what's here at the front of the counter? We're going to demo actually on this hour. We're going to go back to the easiest rose, which is part of this big bundle.
Wonderful.
It's a fantastic flower, so anybody that's not seen this before, I think are going to be quite amazed with what's happening.
Lovely.
That is the cutter that doesn't look anything like a rose.
Well, this is true, and I don't know whether I'm going to be able to reach around. I'll try and point. I'm not even going to attempt to pick it up, but look at that. That does not look like a rose at all, does it? Definitely not. But it will do in a few minutes later.
It will, and it really is very easy. Next to the rose cutter, we've got some impression mats. These are the veining mats. These will work with leaves and petals as well.
Okay.
You don't have to match the shape of the mat with the particular leaf or petal that you're making.
Right, okay.
As long as it covers the area, that's fine. Then we've got the poinsettia. Now, the poinsettia contains 7 individual cutters just within that one kit anyway. So you can make different size poinsettias if you just want to use maybe 4 or 5 of the cutters. Okay. You can make a smaller flower. Also, the petals double up as leaves as well.
Lovely.
And then moving on from there, we have the rose leaves, 3 different sizes. These are a great size actually because you've got the small, medium and large, perfect for your card making as well as your home decor. And again, you can change the size of these using the tools. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through the show.
Lovely.
Then we've got the little holly leaves, again, brilliant for the Christmas projects, great for the card making again. And then finally the ivy leaves, which I absolutely love. I've used those an awful lot throughout the samples. And
I love it because we've got a collection here that's going to see us through Christmas right the way through into spring and summer next year too as well.
Yeah.
Lovely. And you're getting all of those with an incredible saving, but only if you place your order within the next 57 minutes. You can see the clock is on the screen, it is ticking away, and as we rapidly approach 6 o'clock, that is it, you'll be running out of time. Now, we've seen some beautiful finished samples over the last 24 hours, and these were gorgeous. You might not have seen these because they were sitting at the back of our set earlier on, but Catherine, I mean, these are absolutely beautiful.
Well, we've just really used the roses there. There's a little bit of the primrose cutter which is coming up. I can use the cutters just as they're intended, as the shape they are, but we can manipulate those as well and change them. So hopefully we can point that out as well throughout the demos. You've got some rose leaves there, but the roses themselves really are the main part of that little piece of decoration there. And they are genuinely so easy to make. And
the beauty is you can actually make those roses to whatever colour decor you want. They don't have to be pink, they don't have to be red, they can be whatever you want them to be.
That's right, and we've made them using the air dry clay, the hearty air dry clay that's on the show.
And again here, I mean this here, the different sizes, a couple of little bookends, obviously this is just one of them, but again, so pretty.
Yes, and again, we've got the rose in there and the rose leaves. We've also added some little filler flowers. We're going to speak about the accessory bundle later on, which contains some beautiful little flowers that we can work with, including the sweet pea, which is there as well.
That's a cute one as well, isn't it? Very pretty, so realistic. Then, of course, we mentioned the poinsettia. So if you're thinking of your Christmas projects, your home decor projects, then maybe having a little look at this MDF project. And if you are looking for the Noel, it's teamed up with a Happy Christmas, which you can find on the website. But look at that. That's beautiful, Catherine.
You only really need that one big flower, don't you, to make a statement. And then around there, I've used the ivy quite heavily. These have actually been put onto wire, so you can wire the individual pieces, or you can just stick them on flat with glue. So you can make beautiful little sprays and keepsakes as well.
And again, the roses are featuring up in the top right-hand corner, as I'm sure you can see there as well. And a deep, deep red. Now, we can help you with your coloured clay as well in a little while, so we'll give you some details on that. But if you want to get hold of your fabulous Christmas sparkle bundle, 17 cutters, 17 cutters and 4 veining mats for just £29.99. 732616 is the all-important item number, and please do use that number before 6 o'clock, because you will find that when you're checking out your baskets later on after 6 o'clock, you're going to be paying £11.15 more than you need to, and I don't want you to pay a penny more than you need to, because there's lots of other things to spend your pennies on. You'll find them all on the website, in fact, because Catherine has brought some wonderful wonderful kits. You can see some of those elements are available individually, and if you have invested in a similar kit previously and you're thinking, oh, I do like the poinsettia though, we have got a wonderful set with the poinsettia and the mats included, so check that out on the website. And the little small flowers and embellishments bundle, that has been very, very popular all day, just £10.49 for that. But of course, if you've not seen any of Catherine's shows previously, you need to know the science behind making these fabulous flowers.
Yes, if you catch any of the previous shows, you can see me putting together poinsettia, which can be done in the white or the red. We've spoken about the clay there.
That's right.
So that's maybe a good time to bring in the red clay.
Okay.
Because if you want to do the poinsettia, then the red there, take it straight from the pack. You don't need to mix the colour yourself. It's already the perfect colour.
Lovely. Oh, that makes it nice and easy. So if you're a little bit concerned about mixing colours and getting the right tone, then perhaps go for this bundle. You're getting all three of these for £11.99, 315217. They are so light. You expect them to be really, really heavy, but they are really, really light. So you've got all three of those for that fabulous price. But if you do fancy getting hold of the white and then adding in your own colours, then here you go. We've got a bundle with two of these in. These ones, each one of these is 200 grams, so you've got 400 in total. And again, you expect it to be really heavy, but it's not. It's hearty, soft white, as you can see there. Really good quality, and that is very important when you are working with these moulds. 420-315, £19.99.
Okay, so we are going to revisit the rose, I think, here. And I'm going to do two different versions of the rose. The easiest way, the most simple, standard way of doing it, where we're going to use one colour, and then I'm going to show you how you can break that down, make different size roses, and also change the colour so it looks like a variegated rose.
Lovely.
So I'm using some of the white clay. Straight from the pack, it's very, very soft. If you just give it a bit of a stretch, it releases the moisture in it and makes it a little bit more pliable.
Okay.
So that's really lovely to work with. I'm going to bring in my red mat because this is the firm foam former mat.
Okay, and is this important?
It is important, especially for something like the rose, because we need to change the shape of the petals, and you need that mat for doing that job.
And that's a pretty firm mat.
It is. It's a very good dense foam. It's just got the right amount of give. It's just perfect for the job.
Wonderful.
If you went straight onto the glass mat, you wouldn't get the same effect.
Okay.
So that is an important piece of equipment.
Lovely. We just brought the details up at the bottom of the screen. That is including the mat that you're looking at there. It's also including your little dab and dust, and we'll have a chat about that a little bit later on as well.
Okay, right, there are different ways of colouring the clay, so we've already spoken about those individual colours. So if you wanted a pink, you could just mix a little bit of the red clay into the white, or black to make the grey, or the green would make a lighter shade. But you can also use other methods as well. I'm just using a little bit of food colouring. This is gel food colouring, and I really like this because it comes in such beautiful colours, and it's very highly concentrated, so you only need a tiny bit, and it doesn't change the consistency of the clay.
Okay.
So I'm just going to work that in. It really is just like working a food colouring into a fondant rather than a piece of clay. So it's just a case of kneading that, stretching it and working it in.
And I noticed that the food colouring was orange, but you've got a lovely kind of peachy tone here.
Exactly. So the smaller amount you use, the paler the colour.
Okay.
You can intensify it by adding more of the concentrate. But, you know, I really like working with the pastels as well.
Yeah.
I would say, though, if you want a true red, go for the small pack, because if you're going to mix the red clay into the white, you're always going to get some form of pink.
And it's the intensity of colour, isn't it? You can imagine just how much food colouring you're going to need to add, and that's going to change the actual chemical makeup of the clay.
That's right. It's the same with the fondants, actually. Anyone who makes cakes, if they try and mix their own red, they have to put so much colouring in, and it does change the consistency. So the cake decorators tend to mainly buy them ready mixed.
There you go.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're just going to roll out the clay. Now, do work on a glass mat. Don't use one of those green cutting mats because it will actually stick to it and you'll have a job getting it up. Whereas a glass mat, you can just easily peel it. So I'm using a rolling pin. You'll notice I am lifting as I roll, and the reason for that is because this is very, very fresh. So, you know, it may stick a little bit if that's the case. So every time I roll, I just make sure it's free from the glass mat so that I'm not really having to pull at it to get it up afterwards.
Okay.
Now, if you roll to maybe a couple of millimetres, that will work wonderfully for you. And this is the easiest rose. We've said before, it looks very strange. It doesn't look anything like a rose at this point. but we're going to make a rose just from this one cut.
Lovely.
So I'm going to pop just to one side the spare peachy colour, and I'm going to lift this from the mat and put it onto my red mat. Now we've got the tools on the show as well, and there's a pack of 5 different tools.
There is, yes. And some of these I'm looking at and I think, yeah, I know what to do with those, but others I am fascinated by. So I'll let you get on with your demonstration.
Okay, we'll
to
start this
with.
off and then maybe I can go through that and explain
you.
which one each is for. I'm going to use the ball tool. Now you've got a smaller end and a larger end, and I'm actually going to use the larger end there. Now every one of these scallops is a petal, and you'll notice that they're offset, and that's very important. So obviously this has been made specifically to make a flower look realistic, and that's very important that they're offset. I'm going to hold the ball tool, really it's at a right angle above, and I'm just going to roll the ball over the edge of the petal onto the foam mat. Because the clay is nice and wet, can you see what's happening there?
Yes.
It's giving that frilly edge. If I just pick that up so you can see it from the side.
Oh, wow.
You can see how thin.
That wafer thin.
If the clay starts to get a little bit dry, it won't stretch in the same way. So if that happens, you can always add a little bit of water to the clay, mix it in, and it will revive it. So I'm adding again a little bit of pressure over the edge of the petal, just rolling. It may be hard to pick that up. I am actually rolling that ball. If I just slow down a little bit again there, right over onto the foam mat.
So is it kind of like winding a watch as we used to have to do?
That's a good way of describing it, actually. I'm really glad you said that because it is quite hard to explain when you can't see it really close. So now you've seen the technique, I'm just going to whiz around the edge of this.
Wonderful. Now, obviously, the ball tool that you're working with, the double-ended one, that is included within your 5-tool pack.
It is.
You've also got a variety of others. Some of them look a little bit scary, to be honest. So you've got your ball tool. We're going to discard that one just for a moment. Now, this one here, this is an interesting looking one. What's this one?
That's the bone tool. It works in a similar way to the ball tool, so it's used for going around the edge of petals and leaves to soften them and give them a little bit more movement.
Okay.
So
lovely.
very handy again.
That gets, and that's involved as well. You've got that one in your kit. Now this one, it's got like a little hat on the end of it. What's that?
That is the cone tool. You've got a small ball tool on the other end, but this is the cone tool. So that's used for making centres to flowers. Again, a very, very useful tool. We may be able to work with that a little bit later, so we can show how that actually works.
Now this one, I've fathomed out that that's a little bit of a cutting knife.
It is. It's the knife and scribe. So you've got a cutting knife at one end and you've got a scribe at the other. So you can use it for adding detail, maybe poking little holes in things, but certainly for adding some detail, that's very useful.
Wonderful. And this one looks like something my dentist would use. What's this?
That is the veining tool. So again, you can use it for marking veins. If you haven't got the mats, you can mark and scribe with that as well. But also, anyone who's seen me before knows I also work with Katie Sue and the moulds.
Yes.
And I find this very, very useful for adding the clay into the moulds and getting it into the little crevices.
Right into the tiny pieces. Yeah. Yes, I can see that there. Brilliant. Now you're getting all 5 of those for £10.99. Definitely a bundle worth adding into your basket alongside that mat, especially if you want to get the right results. And seeing you working with the clay, I can understand why you need the mat of that consistency, because you don't want your clay drying out.
You don't.
You don't want it to be too spongy, because you're just going to go straight through those petals.
Right.
So yeah,
that's right. That's exactly right. It's just the right density to work with the clay.
Lovely.
So now what I've done here, I've worked all the way around every petal, so they've all been frilled. And now we're going to start to build the flower. You'll notice I didn't do anything in the centre here, so the clay is still quite thick there. We don't need to worry about that. We can sort that out in a little while. So all I'm going to do is fold this piece in half. And if you just fold straight in half, you'll notice what happens there is the petals at one side will fall where there's a gap at the other side. So you're keeping those petals offset. You can flatten where the fold is if you like, but try not to flatten the top of the petals there. If it makes it easier as well, for the first time you do this, once you've frilled the edge, let it sit in the air for 5 minutes, something like that, just to dry off a little bit.
Okay.
It does help so that you don't stick things together where they don't want to be stuck. You'll also notice that I've got a petal that sticks out at both ends. So we've got one that sticks out from underneath at this end.
Okay, yeah.
And one that's at the top at the other end. If I turn it over, you can see.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So I'm right-handed. I tend to hold this in my left hand and work with my right hand, and I start with the petal furthest away. And all I'm going to do is take finger and thumb and start to roll. Now, as soon as I'm beginning to pick up the double layer, which I'm doing there, I'm going to sit that onto my mat.
Okay.
The reason I do that is it keeps the bottom edge very, very level, which means that the top of the petals is also going to be level, giving you a much more even flower. And then we just continue to roll. I'm just going to tuck that little petal upwards there. The further you roll, the lighter you want to make it roll round. So I'm really just guiding that around. You don't want to over tighten it. And then when you get to the end, the final petal, just press it down and it will stick to the clay.
Okay.
So from the top you can see we have a nice open rose there. I'm just going to tweak out those little outside petals so you can see a little bit better.
Oh, that's pretty.
It already looks really pretty, doesn't it? Turn it to the side and it looks a bit...
It's a bit chunky.
It's a bit chunky. So we want to get rid of that. And there's another reason we're going to see to this. I hate waste. The clay is very precious. We want to get as much out of it as we can. So we're going to remove the excess.
Okay.
If you look at the petals here where the little split is in between them, try and grab around there with finger and thumb. If you start with both hands, it will help. And just give the slightest little pinch, turn, pinch again, and keep doing that. Keep it moving. If you keep it going round, the flower will stay nice and even.
Look at it opening up.
It really does start to move. I'm closing off the gap in between all those layers, and when you get to a certain point, I tend to then just go with the one hand and continue. So you can see now how I'm thinning out there, and all this is going to be spare.
Oh, right.
We're getting rid of enough to make another flower.
Yes.
Before I cut the excess off, I'm just going to look at that from the top, and actually we don't really need to do anything there.
That's beautiful.
You could tweak it, you could just pinch the petals, you could roll them over, but actually if you frilled them out nicely, then you can just leave the flower exactly as it is.
Isn't that beautiful?
And then either with a pair of scissors or just pinch it off with your fingers, you can get rid of the excess and reuse it, and we can pop this one down to dry.
That is beautiful. And drying, how long do we need to allow for it to dry?
That, under the situation in the studio here with the air conditioner, would start to feel very dry very quickly.
Okay.
But I would still allow that to dry overnight to make sure that the air is circulated all the way around and it's thoroughly dry.
That's right, 'cause it's quite dense in the centre.
It is quite dense
it?
in the centre. So if you're sticking it onto card or paper, then you don't want to take the water from the moisture in that flower.
Isn't that beautiful? And look at that. Oh, come back, don't be shy. I'm fine, I don't want to squish it, but it's quite sturdy actually. It's sturdier than you think.
It is.
Now, we've had an email come through. The lovely Nina. Hiya, Nina, how you doing?
Nina.
Thank you for joining us. She said we're lovely ladies, so she's our friend.
Thank you, Nina.
We love you too. Now, she's got a question. She's asking about putting glitter. So if you've got the clay and you want to apply glitter, now I don't know whether Nina means to mix glitter in with it or to apply glitter afterwards. So what's your best advice?
I'll just bring in a poinsettia. This was one that we demoed in one of the earlier shows, and I did add some glitter afterwards, so you can see some sparkle on that.
That's pretty.
If you try and mix glitter into the clay, you're going to lose it.
Okay.
So the best thing is to add it afterwards. I tend to let the clay dry and then use a watered down PVA glue, just paint it on with a brush and sprinkle the glitter over the top.
Perfect.
Obviously PVA dries clear, so you know you just get that lovely sparkle.
There you go.
And you don't actually see the glue. It also helps to seal the clay as well.
Yes.
And adds extra strength to it.
That's a good idea, actually. So, yes, that's effective. Sandra, she's already been watching as well. Hiya, Sandra, how are you doing? And she's asking about the mat again. And are you OK to use like a non-stick, one of those silicone mats? Can you use one of those instead of a glass one?
To work directly from, you can get non-stick silicone mats as well. I think maybe some of the sugarcraft people out there have got them.
Yeah.
So yes, you can roll onto that as well. That will help. Other things would be a tile, if you've got a bathroom tile, as long as it's not got a textured surface, a piece of granite, a piece of marble, so a kitchen worktop saver, something like that would work. Brilliant. It needs to be a nice, smooth finish.
OK. Now, I don't know, are you familiar with Powertex at all? Have you come across Powertex? Yeah. And she's also asking about using the clay with Powertex. Could you use it with Powertex?
Yes. I do know that the Powertex people, I've met various demonstrators throughout the exhibitions and things, they love air dry clay. So you can use Powertex to coat these once they're dry, and you can then put things outside, but it does need to be sealed with something like Power Tack.
That's right, yeah, they've got certain glazes and things. So good question, Sandra. Very good question. It is a good question. So thank you. Any more questions? Take advantage of the fact that Catherine is here, but she's only here for the next 40 minutes. As you can see, clock on the wall, as you can see there, is telling us that, or clock on the screen, should I say. Now what we're doing.
Right, we're going to use the rose again, but this is my favourite way. We've got a lovely size rose there, but it's one colour.
Yes.
And I like to work with flowers that have got a little bit of variation in the colour.
Okay.
So I'm just taking, it's the original colour, the peach again, and I've cut a section and I just want to use 4 petals. So I'm just going to cut there, so you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Lovely.
I'm going to shape these as I go because the clay is drying out with the air conditioning, so I don't want to leave it sat as I prepare all the other pieces. Exactly the same method. So because you've seen me do this, I am just going to whiz around these.
Wonderful.
Once you've made a couple of roses, you'll be going at speed like this. You'll be smoke coming off your hands.
Lovely.
Okay, now I can safely put that to one side now.
Okay.
If it dries a little bit more, it can actually go in your favour, so that's fine as it is.
Wonderful.
I'm going to then take the remainder of the colour I've used, in fact I can lose a bit of that because I don't need so much of it, and mix some white into it. Now you can totally mix the colour, or you could leave it as a little bit of a marbled effect. It gives a nice finish to the finished flower. If you see sort of the streaks of colour running through it.
Yeah, it's like a variegated almost, isn't it? Yeah, nice idea.
So,
and I noticed as well you were popping the clay back into the packaging. Is that a good way of looking after it when you're not using it?
It is. I still have got the end open there because I know I'm going to be using that. But if you're not going to be using pieces of clay quickly, please put it into a plastic bag with a Ziploc top on it or something like that.
Like a little sandwich bag type thing.
It is at the end of the day, it's an air dry clay. So any air that's getting to it is going to be drying it out.
Okay.
To store it when you finish making, if you try and use the original packaging, make sure there's no air in that packet and seal the top over and then put it in a container. Just to safeguard it, you could also use a wet piece of paper towel inside a box, just to keep moisture within the air that's in the box. So this time I'm cutting a section again. I always tend to cut bigger than I need and then trim it down because you can see where you're going. Second section I'm going to go with 6 petals, so it's slightly bigger. You can change this to suit. You don't have to stick to the exact amount of petals that I'm using. And again, I'm rolling that ball right over the edge of the petal, making it nice and thin, and just working my way around. If ever you do find the clay is sticking to the mat a little bit, or it doesn't usually stick to the ball tool, it's the type of plastic they're made from, but if it does, it's simply your clay is too wet. So just leave it to sit for a few minutes and go again. At the end of the day, it's a piece of clay, so you can roll it up and reuse it.
Lovely.
So I'm just going to pop that to one side, and then finally I'm going to go with a little bit more clay. I just want to lighten it down further. So I could remove a bit of that colour because I don't need all that, and mix in again. Okay. So you're creating 3 different shades of the same colour. And this really does come to life when you put it together. So again, I'm just going to whiz around this. Doesn't matter if the clay is not fully mixed. We like it to look a little bit streaky, a little marbled.
I think that adds to the nature of it.
It does.
That's how they are in true life, isn't it?
Okay, so I'm rolling it out. I don't know if I did say how thick I did this. I would say try not to make it more than a couple of millimetres thick. Yeah. On your first go, just think about the technique. Get used to the technique, get used to the cutters, the feel of the clay, and then worry about the thickness a little bit more, because more practice you have, the thinner you can actually make these petals.
And of course, when you're practicing, you can scrunch it back up and then re-roll it, I'm guessing.
You can, yeah. So if you do use too much clay and the petal's a little bit too chunky, then, you know, just start again.
Lovely. Now, just as Catherine's working her way around that, I do need to tell you that we're very, very busy on the phone lines. So if you wanted to get your order in for your one-day special, you're going to be in very good company because everybody's ordering them. Details are up on your screen, as you can see, for your one-day special, and that's including the Easy Rose cutting set, as you can see, that we're working with here. You've got your poinsettia in there as well, you've got your rose leaves, and the poinsettia petals do team up as making your leaves as well with those as well. You've got your little veining mats in there as well, so you're going to add that realism with those petals and leaves. You've also got your rose leaves, you've also got in there your, your ivy leaves are featuring in there as well. So you've got 17 different cutters in total, and 4 of those veining mats in there for £29.99.
Okay.
Lovely.
Before I do the last petal, I'm just going to show you what not to do.
Okay.
With your ball tool, I did say just go right over the edge onto the mat. If you don't do that and you maybe just roll it around the edge, what will happen, it will start to cup and turn inwards. So when you roll the flower, instead of it opening out, it will just come in on itself.
Okay, right.
So very important just to make sure you go right over that edge, just as we've been doing right throughout the demonstration.
Lovely.
So we can now go back to our 4 petal piece. Same as before, we're going to fold in half. Make sure one petal falls in a gap at the other side. Okay, and then we're just going to roll that exactly as I did before. Now this could be a very small rose, it could be a rosebud, or it could be the centre to our main flower, which is what I'm going to do. So keep that quite tight, because that's going to be the centre, so the middle of the rose will always be a little bit tighter.
Oh, that's so dinky.
Okay.
But you could do exactly the same with the neck as you did before.
You could. So just 4 petals would make lovely miniature roses for cards or something like that. We're going to go with layer 2. Again, fold in half. And we're going to actually join this exactly where I finished. We're going to rejoin just by pushing the clay together. And this time, as you roll, don't do it quite as tight, just guide it round. Okay. And then the last petal will just stick down. So there you've got a medium-sized flower.
Lovely.
So you could stay there.
That's pretty.
You can see the colour starting to come through. Don't worry about the petals and how they're sitting at the minute. We can tweak it a little bit as we go. Just make sure they're not sticking together.
And of course that mat's making all the difference, isn't it?
It really does.
It is having the results that you need.
It really does. And then the final piece, I'm going to roll again, fold again, and then join. Where we finish, we're going to rejoin, and again, sit it on the mat. Keep that bottom edge level so that the top of the petals are also nice and even.
Oh, look at that, that is beautiful. Now, the mat is included in the equipment bundle down at the bottom of the screen, just £9.99. You are going to get that along with your dabber dust. And your dabber dust is kind of a key helping you work with your clay sometimes.
It is. You can fill that, it's got a little screw top on it, so if you take the top off, fill it with corn flour, and then if you shake it or tap it onto your surface, it comes out so fine, just the right amount without overdoing it with the corn flour.
So the corn flour comes out of the little sachet that you've got on the bottom there.
You can also use it as an anti-static tool as well.
Useful.
So card makers fill it with talcum powder if you haven't got corn flour, and it will work in exactly the same way.
There you go, and then you've got a little screw lid on there, as you can see, that's coming off. Very tightly secured, so I'm not going to keep going because you know how to take the lid off things, don't you? I don't need to
very handy little tool, actually. We've not used corn flour within this particular demo, but I do use it from time to time, so it's very useful to have.
Now you watch this. This is incredible. I love this bit.
Right, so you can see now we've got the depth of colour in the centre, but we've got all that excess clay. So it's just as we did before. We're going to get fingers and thumbs underneath the petals and a little pinch and a turn, and continue to pinch and turn. So you can see the movement.
Starts opening up before your eyes.
It does. It's like watching a real rose come into bloom.
Look at this.
I'll then go with one hand, and I like to just sort of remove the excess. Again, all that can be reused. And look at that, without really tweaking anything.
That is beautiful.
And as it dries, it actually gets prettier because the clay will shrink just a tiny, tiny bit as the moisture goes, and those crinkly edges will show up even more, and the colour will intensify in the centre there as well.
That's beautiful. So there we can see the original one that we saw created, and if you want your fuller rose, and you're seeing the stages of that particular one, so whether you want your bud right the way through to your full open rose, you can create them all with that exact same cutter, and that cutter is included within your one-day special at that fabulous price, but only for the next 31 minutes. That time is ticking away, especially when we're watching fabulous demonstrations like that. Now, we've got the details up on the screen. Catherine's going to give us a lovely demonstration inspiration using the rolling pins because they've been very popular as well. But let me give you the details of your one-day special in the meantime while she gets herself ready. 732616, that is your one-day special. Now, what are you getting in the kit? Let me show you. You can see that funny shaped one at the top. That's going to transform into roses, as we've seen. Next to the side of there, you've got your rose petals, as you can see. And then as we run down the side, you can see you've got your ivy leaves there. You've also got your holly leaves. And as we move across, you'll see the next 7 cutters you've got there are the different layers for your poinsettias. You don't have to use them all in one go, though. You can vary the size of your poinsettias if you're wanting to. And you can also double up those petals as leaves if you so wish. Now, any of those leaves you might want to add a little bit of veining to, or even the petals, as we saw with the poinsettia earlier. And you have got your 4 veining mats included as well. Really, it's a comprehensive bundle that's going to allow you to create some beautiful flowers over and over again, and definitely not just for Christmas. £29.99 if you want to get hold of those. Only for 30 minutes though, because in half an hour's time it's going to go up to £41.14. You don't want to spend any more than you need to for this kit. 732616 if you want to get hold of it. Now, what are we making?
Okay, right, we have got on the show these fabulous little rolling pins. Now, there is a twin pack. I believe we get the snowflake and the knit in one, and also there's a star rolling pin that comes with the unicorn
with
cutter.
the little fabulous unicorn.
So yeah, I think we're going to have the I don't know if we can have the frame brought in with the unicorn,
yes,
so we can see that as well. But these are very, very easy to use. So use whatever colour clay you like. I'm just going to use the leftover from the roses there. And I'm just going to roll out with my standard rolling pin. Just in case anyone's wondering at home, you don't often see a clear rolling pin. I work with polymer clay as well, which is the oven baked clay, and this is brilliant for that. It's just a clear acrylic. At home, you can use those white acrylic rolling pins that the Sugarcraft ladies use.
Oh, yes, yeah.
You can pick them up from the supermarket. You can pick them up from a lot of different shops now. So you don't need a clear rolling pin. Just a white one will work perfectly. So I'm just rolling out a little bit, not too thinly. You can see there's still some thickness to that, because I'm going to use, let's go for the snowflake one. This is where the dabber dust could come in as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Just to ensure that the top surface isn't too wet. If you just go with your little dabber dust over the top, you can't really see anything coming out there,
really
but
fine.
it is there. And then we'll start at one end, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure and roll that in one movement right over. And you can see how that picks out.
That is beautiful.
The design. We can bring that to life a little bit more as well.
Oh, can we?
So what I've done earlier, just to help everyone realise where we can go with this, I've used the knit on that piece. There's the snowflakes, and we've got the stars, which comes with that lovely unicorn cutter as well.
We've got the unicorn here just to show you what you're getting in that particular bundle. This is just too cute for words. Look, the little unicorn here featuring within the frame. Now, as the set, as Catherine says, you are going to get your little rolling pin for your stars. That is included with this, along with the little cutter that will cut out your unicorn, and I've got that here too as well. Oh, it's rolling away. Come back. So that's your cutter to cut out your little unicorn. And they come together. The kit that we've got for these, you can see down at the bottom of the screen there. So if you want to get hold of your unicorn and your stars rolling pin, just £11.99, 367497. And as I rotate that around, you can see those gorgeous little stars featuring on theirs as well. That is brilliant. Now, obviously, all of these are going to be used. Now, Catherine's just, are you going to add a little bit of ink?
I'm going to add some ink, so yes, to accentuate that. But just going back to the unicorn, we did actually demonstrate that in the last show. So if anyone, we showed how to do the blending technique as well. So yeah, I'm sorry, Leonie got that one.
I'm going to have to go back on rewind. That's where we have show envy, when we envy each other for doing the shows, right?
So yes, I did show how to blend the clay as well, so you get that variation of colour in a different way to the rose. I've used the paper in the background there, but why not use the rolling pin and emboss some clay, cut it out to make a background for your pieces as well.
That's a good idea.
So once you've rolled out, you can add on as well. The rolling pin's a certain length, but you can move it and continue rolling to do large areas. These are pieces of clay that have actually dried out quite well. The surface is definitely dry. And if I just get a piece of cut and dry foam, there's a little bit of black distress ink on here.
Yes.
So I'm just rubbing over the top, just so you can see how it pulls out the design there. So you can do that as well. You can colour and use that embossed raised area. So, you know, choose your colour for the clay first, and then use the ink colour that contrasts or works well with it to pick out that detail.
Show it up, doesn't it?
It does. I like the stars actually, the blue with the black. It does look very, very nice. So
effective.
Very effective. Don't go with too much ink, quite dry sponge there. I usually take ink onto the sponge and then rub it off onto a glass mat so it's not overly loaded with the ink there. But you can see how that brings the colours out and really shows the designs off.
Isn't it just? That's brilliant. Thank you, Catherine. Right, I'm going to let you get ready for another demonstration. 25 minutes to get hold of your one-day special, so we need to check out those details. But have a look on the website. We've been really busy on the phone line, so apologies if you're caught up in queues. We will get to you as soon as we possibly can, but the website might be the best way for you to order. You can see there Catherine's got a lovely selection of MDF pieces as well to work alongside your clay. You've also got your coloured clay there, as you can see, your hearty soft air drying clay there in black, red and green, 50 grams of each for $11.99. Of course, the white that we have seen, our lovely Catherine using that white, and really good value for money because you're getting loads in there and you've seen just a small amount that you need. And now you can see here we've got all the different tools that you might need. Again, look at those reviews. You've been investing in those tools, and I think that's a wise investment because quite often we will work perhaps with a new craft, maybe we won't get the results that we were anticipating, and it can be down to the fact that we haven't invested in the right tools for the job. So if you're going for your one-day special, definitely make sure that you have got those tools, really important. And then you can see your lovely unicorn there. Oh, we got freedom discount on that one. And the gingerbread house bundle, you've been loving that one as well. We saw that in action earlier on, 9 o'clock this morning, so you can always go back and see that one after you've placed your order for that one. Yes, so yeah, pretty much anything, pop it in your basket because it's all going to work together. And the best thing is when you place an order for something, say you're going for your one-day special, but post and packing of £2.95, add in anything else and you're just paying £1 extra with your post and packing. So it's a really good idea that you consider all the different bits and pieces that you want. So maybe your saving is going to get you some of those rolling pins, or maybe it's going to get you on your way with those mats and those tools. It's always worth considering. If you do find that your post and packing starts creeping up towards £6, then why not think about becoming a Freedom member? Because for £6.97, you can get your post and packing included, your standard post and packing included for a whole calendar month. So that means that you don't have to worry about your post and packing, and you don't have to commit to that Freedom membership either. You can dip back out of it as soon as you want to dip back in. Just let us know. Now the one-day special, 23 minutes, that's all you've got left to get hold of this. You can see what a brilliant deal it is. As Catherine's shown us, you've got that fabulous rose cutter, which if you saw that sitting on the shelf somewhere, you'd have no idea what that was going to create, but it creates the most beautiful roses, little tiny rosebuds right the way through to full open blooms, as we've seen with that lovely demonstration Catherine just showed us. Then you've got your veining mats. These are perfect. We saw her using these in the launch hour and also at 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock when she was working with the poinsettia. Adds those lovely little amounts of detail that gives the realism to those petals, and obviously you can use them with your leaves as well. Then you've got your poinsettia cutters. Now you've got a set of 7 here, but you don't have to use them all together. You can select certain numbers of those, and again, Catherine explained that during those shows, but you have got full instructions with everything. So if there's anything you need to refer to, you can check that out with the instructions. You can also use them with the petals as well. So the larger one, you might want to use that one instead of a petal as your leaf, should you say, with that one. The next one that you've got there is your rose leaf there. 3 different rose leaves, as you can see, different sizes. So for your small, your medium and your larger roses perhaps. Next to those, we've got your ivy leaves as well. Again, 3 different sizes. I love it because within these kits, it could be that the guys just put 1 or 2 in, but they haven't. And then you've got your ivy leaves featuring there together as well. Now, when I actually bring up this piece here, this is incredible. You can see the roses featuring within the one-day special are making an appearance in this piece. But then you have got some additional bits and pieces. So you've got things like your carnations. We've got cutters for those. You've got your Daphne in here as well. So we've got your cutters for those as well. Sweet peas, we saw those created earlier on as well. So we've got the cutters for those too. And putting them all together, you can see it really does give a wonderful result. And again, one of the bookends we were looking at earlier on, beautiful composition here, and you can be creating these very, very easily if you're adding these cutters into your basket. Those little filler flowers really do make a difference, don't they? The petals and the leaves there from your rose leaves, that's featuring in here as well. And a lovely pale green made with the coloured clay that we've got on the show, but with a little bit of white added into them. So yes, it doesn't matter whether you're making home decor, whether you're making your cards, whether you're making them for arrangements, maybe fascinating. I mean, look at this. Wow. Anybody moving into a new home that receives a gift like this is going to be thrilled to bits with it. Absolutely thrilled to bits if you were to receive this. I wouldn't mind one of these. You can see there you've got your different roses up at the top there as well. And all of these roses have been created using that easy cutter. Love it. 732-616 and £29.99 if you're wanting to get hold of these. Now you can see they were featuring the little carnations in here. Well, the carnation that you can see, where am I? Oh no, it's not there. Oh, it's on the other one. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong angle. Yes, the carnation, we're going to touch on that one in a moment as well. So we're going to say goodbye to the one-day special. Temporarily, you can still get it for 20 minutes. But if you're wanting to create your carnations, then this is the set that you need. Now, within the carnation, you have also got your peony as well. So this is a brilliant one for you to go for if you fancy the different style of flowers with these as well. Now, your peonies are a beautiful larger flower if you're wanting to work with these. And I've got them over here. So I shall show you these in just a few moments. I'm ahead of you. I'm running ahead. I'm so speedy. Now, yes, if you can see the details on your screen, I mean, look at this. Again, home decor. You are going to be able to create the most beautiful pieces, as you can see. The peonies, I love peonies because they're like nice large heads that you've got with them. Carnations are always a favourite, aren't they, within a bouquet? Good value flat. But look at these. The peonies opened up large, or those more coiled ones waiting for them to get to their full beauty. Things like the lily of the valley and those gorgeous little flowers. We'll see how to create those a little bit later on as well. Now, the cutters are going to look something similar to what we've looked at previously, except they are slightly different because you've got almost like a little fluted, jagged edge to these. So one of them is going to be your peony. I think that's the softer one that we've got over here. And the one that is slightly more jagged over here, I think you'll find is your carnation. It's on your packaging. Or is it the other way around? It's the other way around. Typical. Never mind. That's me making an educated guess, but not to worry. Now, 388-984 if you're wanting to go for these. Again, thankfully, they come with full instructions, so you don't have to take my word for anything. £19.49 if you want to go for those. And again, brilliant value for money. And you can see how adding them into your projects, you're going to get some wonderful results. We've got more to share with you though, so we're going to tempt you with more. Now, this particular set here, your floral embellishments, those little tiny flowers that we've just been looking at, these are perfect for adding in content to your arrangements. Or maybe you're going to be, oh, I dropped off then, sorry. What's that? There you go. I'm still here. Hello, I'm still here. Now, you can see here your smaller ones as well. You've got your Daphne, you've got your Sweet Pea, you've also got your Blossom and your Primrose. Now, you will notice at the moment we're a little bit empty on the screen, but don't worry, we will give you the details in just a few moments. Just having a few technical issues there, but we will bring them up. Now, you've got all four of these. These are beautiful, and I have to say, earlier on we saw the lovely Sweet Pea being made, put onto wire, and it was so quick and easy for it to work as well. Now, down at the bottom we have actually got the details there, 277415 if you want to get hold of these. All of these little blossoms are going to be included within this particular pack. So you've got little cutters this time, little singular cutters to cut out a variety of shapes of petals that when they're put together, they create these gorgeous pieces. And when they're actually put together, they make some gorgeous pieces. I mean, look at this here. Simply using the ivy leaf from your one-day special, and then these little tiny, sweet little flowers popped in there, and of course a wonderful sentiment, as you can see, attached to it there as well. And of course, if you want to add in, I'm going to bring this piece up here as well. Trying not to knock it over. Look at this, you can have fun with these as well. Catherine brings us a lovely arrangement of little MDF pieces as well. So if you've managed to get hold of one of those sets with those in, why not add them in? And again, here you can see your little Sweet Peas and your little Primroses featuring here, of course, with the roses that we saw just a few moments ago. Add in a few little tendrils of wire there, and you really have got a lot of interest working with these. Now, we were talking a little bit earlier on about the gingerbread house. I'm going to bring the gingerbread house in, but this time, look, it's not a gingerbread house, it's a fairy house. And you can see, I don't know why I went all high and squeaky then. Sorry. We've got little dogs squealing all over the country as my voice went up. A fairy house, as you can see there. Now, these little embellishments that you've got here, again, you can get hold of those. Check them out on the website. But here, around the edge here, the beautiful Sweet Peas featuring, and again, just trailing down the front. Isn't that gorgeous? And the Sweet Peas are included with the small flower embellishment bundle. £10.49. How affordable is that? Maybe this is the set that you're going to start off with. Adding in your tools, obviously, then you can get some wonderful results. Yeah, why not add these to your basket? 277-415 if you want to go for these, and £10.49, to be honest, is such an affordable price. It would be rude not to go for these. Now, the final bundle that we want to show you is the unicorn bundle, and this is so cute. Unicorns everywhere at the moment, aren't you? See them on the high street, on T-shirts, home decor, everywhere you look. And you can be creating your own as well. These are brilliant. You can see here, very simple frame, very effective frame. You can pick this up quite affordably on the high street, and you could be making things like this and selling them on your craft store. The little unicorn you can see sitting there with the variegated clay, which if you tune in at 1 o'clock, you can see how Catherine did that. A lovely little eye in those eyelashes, beautiful. And then we've got another cute little one down. Oh, oh no, I finished off a unicorn. Oh no, that's it, I'm doomed. But look at that, sparkly. Isn't that pretty? So, so cute. So your cutter is included within this particular set. We've got your cutter down at the front here, and you've got that fabulous little rolling pin, and we saw Catherine working with those just a few moments ago. £11.99, 367-497 if you want them to get hold of those. Now, of course, if you find that you are adding in different bits and pieces to your basket, lots of poster packing can build up, but also have a look at this one. We've got a Freedom members discount with this, so the price is a little lower for Freedom members than anybody else, £10.79 to be exact. Now, how do you become a Freedom member? All you need to do is give us a call, jump onto the website, and check out this item number 88888. Now, if you are ordering anything, you will see that you can tick a box as you check out to add in your Freedom membership. And if you do that and you're not a member already, then you will see suddenly and magically your post and packing will disappear, because that's included. You've got members discounts, which we've just spoken of, and you get a badge and a newsletter. Monthly newsletter comes out at the end of each month, gives you a little bit of a heads up on things that are coming up, and maybe some information from behind the scenes. Very nice interview with our Charlie, I think, during the current newsletter. Now,
okay, right, we're going to move on to that fabulous accessory bundle.
Oh,
and
lovely.
I think we've got less than 15 minutes left.
We've not got long.
We haven't got long, have we? So I'm going to try and make as many flowers as I can in that time.
Oh, here we go. Let's go for a record.
Okay, we're going to start with the primrose. The Daphne will work in a similar way.
Okay.
So I'm just taking a ball of clay first. You can make whatever colour you like. It doesn't have to be a primrose. You can make different flowers, make fantasy flowers. I'm actually just going to make a little bit of a point on there by rolling with a finger. Pop it into the hole in your mat.
What that was for.
Yes, it does come with a hole in the mat. It is meant to be there. Just squash down the clay there, and when you lift that out, that's why we call it the Mexican hat.
It reminds me of those mushroom sweets you can get.
It does look like those.
The faux mushrooms.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to actually thin out the clay around there, and I'm going to use one of the tools. Now, they have got a little bit of printed writing on, probably made in England or something like that, because it is a British company, FMM.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I'm going to use that just to roll out and thin out that clay. It doesn't matter that it leaves an imprint, because we're going to remove that anyway.
Okay.
But we want that to be much finer. Just make sure it's not stuck down. So you can see there.
Lovely.
Just pick that up. So you can see there, you know, I've thinned that out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Take your cutter, whether it's the primrose or the Daphne works in the same way. That little pointy bit wants to be right in the middle, and then you can just cut that out. This is very wet clay, so it's sticking a little bit. You could have used your dab of dust on top of it, but we can poke that out. It's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So then we're going to pop that down onto the mat. And there's a couple of different ways I could do this. We could use the bone tool actually, or the ball tool. Mm-hmm. And you can also use, if I've not lost it, we can use a cocktail stick.
Oh, okay, right.
So I'm going to use the small end of the ball tool, and if you just want to pull out the petals, you can do it that way.
So is this
just
a pulling action
them.
rather than a rolling action?
You could do it both ways. You could roll, or you could just pull. And that will give you one look. It's not particularly a primrose flower now. I'm just changing this around. You know, you can have fun and try different things. You could also use a cocktail stick. That one's not got a very good end on it, so I'm just going to grab a new one.
No problem at all. Okay. I love that already. It's taking shape.
It is nice.
Yeah.
You know, just play around with these. Use the cocktail stick, place it down and roll it. It's flat to the mat.
Right, yes.
Roll it backwards and forwards, and it will frill out those petals a little bit and widen them. So that's another way you can work with it.
Okay.
So of course, again, use your coloured clay. You don't have to have the whites, but we can use chalks and different finishes to add depth of colour to the centres. But we spoke about earlier that little cone tool.
Oh, look at that. How pretty is that already?
It is, and using the cocktail stick, you can put little ridges on the petals as well. But use the cone tool just to make the centre.
Oh, wow.
Can you see there? It gives some lovely detail.
Oh, I want everything.
And then if you use some chalk on a dry brush or a little bit of ink, you can paint the centres in and change the colour. And then you could use some of those stamens or make your own stamens and put them on wire and thread through. I have got one I made earlier. I don't know if it's disappeared now. We'll see if we can find it. But, you know, play with these. Make your own flowers up. Put different layers on. Work with the daphne in the same way. So that's one.
Lovely. Number one flower.
Number one. Then we're going to go on to our blossom. Now these, they look such simple flowers, they are, but you can do other things with them.
Okay.
This is the medium. You get a large, a medium and small, but they're all very small flowers really. So I'm going to take a small amount of the clay, just roll it out quite thinly. And again, if you want to use the dab of dust just to take any stickiness off, you can do. But if it does stick into the cutter, you can poke it out with a paintbrush end, which I've done there. So I'll just cut a couple of those.
Catherine, can I go and have a little delve in your tub of flowers?
You can.
You've got some beautiful flowers in there. It seems such a shame that we can't see them.
I've got quite a few half-made ones in there as well, where I've been demoing.
It doesn't matter. It's just so inspirational seeing these.
Right, what I'm going to do, I've got some pieces of very fine wire. I'm just going to put a hook on the end of those. Use a pair of jewellery pliers if you need to, but this is so fine, I can just bend these over.
Okay.
So I'm just going to do, we'll just do 3 or 4 of those. And then I'm just going to take some of the white clay and I'm going to make a little tiny ball. We'll do 3 of those, slightly different sizes. So you can start small and get a little bit bigger. They're pretty much the same actually, so I'll see if I can get 3 different sizes. So we'll go with those 3. These are going to be our starting point, very, very easy. Take your wire with the hook on it and you're just going to push the wire into the little ball of clay, pull it through until the hook or the loop just starts to disappear.
Okay, yeah.
You could make little berries as well for maybe mistletoe like this as well.
That's a good idea, yeah.
So I'm just going to thread 3 of those. And again, just pull through that little hook so it's just inside the top of the clay. And then I'm going to make a larger ball of clay, just slightly larger than the largest one I've done here. Just pop those to one side. And this is going to be our open flower. I'm making Lily of the Valley actually. Now the cone tool, you've got another little ball tool on there which is perfect for the next job. I can just pick up the blossom and just push that onto the top of that ball of clay. You can lift the little petals. You just want to make a little indentation there. Just hold it gently so that you're not squashing the ball underneath. And then again, thread your wire through and just pull it through. So that makes more of an open flower.
Oh.
Very, very simple.
Beautiful.
And you can make lots of those. These are something you can sit in front of the TV, make these, let them dry.
Rose hips and all sorts.
Exactly,
like that,
they're perfect for rose hips. And then all you would do, if you've got some of the florist tape, that's the green tape, we stretch it and it sticks to itself.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get hold of. And you can see you can start to wire together all those individual elements. So you would take the smallest little berry type ball first, and you would start to wind the tape around and gradually work your way down and then begin to add in the flowers. And you can create stems with as many flowers as you like there.
That is beautiful.
Okay. Just to make them look a little bit more realistic, this is obviously when everything's nice and dry. Can you see the bit of green on the back there?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Use one of your chalks or your petal lusters or something like that. There's all sorts of different products out there on the market, chalk wires, mica powders, that sort of thing. And just some colour on the back and maybe even into the open bit at the top as well. And it makes them come to life and look a little bit more realistic. So there's another flower you can do with the blossom.
They're beautiful. Now, I've been having a little delve.
Have you?
Look
There's
at
the
this.
Daphne.
There you go. Look
That's
at
what I was doing earlier.
these.
Yeah, so I've just kind of made my own stamens there.
And you become the designer. You decide exactly how you want to put them together. This might not be a real flower in real life, but it's a flower that you've created. You become the designer of these, and you can see there, as Catherine showed us, so beautifully easy to put together. Now look at these. How many times have you bought little sprays like that for your card making? Lots and lots of times, I am sure. And you could be making your own little sprays, as you see, using those little tiny, tiny flowers. And then have a look at these. These are adorable.
You've got the tiniest little stamens in there, which you can actually buy, but why not use things like your liquid pearls as well?
Good idea.
If you've got a good thread, maybe use some beeswax and strengthen the thread. You know, when you pull the thread through a beeswax, or a candle would do the same thing. Stiffen up the thread, and then you could add liquid pearls to the end, or glue dots and dip them in glitter. Lots of different ways you can make your own stamens as well.
Isn't that wonderful? Now you can see we've been distracted. You've only got 5 minutes left to get hold of your one-day special, featuring those fabulous roses that we've been looking at today, and also those fabulous poinsettias. Don't forget all the other little kits as well, because you can do things like your fabulous little sweet peas. But the poinsettias, I mean, these are absolutely incredible. I've got one here. We've got lots of different examples of these, and I'll show you a finished example in just a few moments. But they're gorgeous. I've just kind of stretched across. Can't quite reach. Oh, thank you, Charlotte. Just to show you, because of course these are work in progress for the ones that I've just been having a look at. But look at this. That's the poinsettia that's coming in with your one-day special. You can see how it tunes up with those lovely little flowers that Catherine's just shown us, and of course those ivy leaves again featuring there. And of course up in the top right-hand corner you have got the roses featuring with this one as well. So you can see if you want to create your gorgeous little roses as well, the one-day special is the way to go. 4 minutes, that's all you've got left to get hold of it without with it going up in price. Don't pay any more than you need to. 432-616 if you're wanting to get hold of those. So many wonderful ideas and so much inspiration. I've loved it today. I really have.
And it is worth looking at Rewind to catch up, because we have done the sweet peas on other shows. We've done the poinsettia on all the previous shows. So, you know, I've tried to vary the demos throughout the day to give everybody an idea of different ways of working with the different cutters.
Now, don't forget to go for your clay. Don't forget those essentials, because it does make all the difference, having the right tools for the job. So don't forget, just a very, very recap. If you want to get hold of your clay, your white clay, 400 grams, £19.99, 420315. Now, your equipment bundle down at the bottom of the screen, that's going to include that fabulous mat that we have seen Catherine working with. It's also going to give you that fabulous little dab of dust we saw her working with, and that clever little hole that we didn't know what it was for until about 5 minutes ago. I love it. Comes with full instructions as well. Don't forget, with your clays as well, if you want your colours, you have got your green, your black, and of course your red. So if you want the intensity of colour, these are the ones to go for alongside your white. So make sure you get everything in your basket, and check out your basket before 6 o'clock if you want to take advantage of that one-day special deal that we've got. Do not miss out on it at all. Catherine, I've thoroughly enjoyed myself today. Thank you for everything.
It's been wonderful.
It has been really good fun. Yeah, we've known each other for years, but never worked together in this scenario.
No, we haven't, have we? That's true.
Can't wait for the next time, I have to say. So, yeah, don't be too long coming back, will you?
I won't. I'll be back soon, I promise.
Wonderful. There we go. So you still got time. Check out your baskets, get hold of your one-day special, grab a cup of tea, and come and join me the other side of the break, because we are launching a brand new one-day special with Rosella. See you in a minute. Oh, what a fabulous day I've had. And Pergamano, we've still got more of the day to come. One-day special launching straight after the break. And then the lovely Lizzie and where am I? It's not Annabelle, it's Abigail coming up after that.
Hochanda will again be supporting the Crafting at Ali Pali event on the 16th and 17th of September. We'll be there with demonstrations and competitions, with the opportunity to meet some of our presenters in the Great Hall of Alexandra Palace. All of your favourite guest experts will be there, including Sue Wilson, Phil Martin, Lisa Horton and Julia Watts from the Creative Expressions team, Barbara Gray and Paul Church from Clarity Stamp, Bev from Be Crafty, Gordon and Justin from Be Creative, and many more. So don't forget to order your ticket for Crafting at Ali Pali online at www.hochanda.com, and we'll see you there.
Hi, my name is Gary Gazza Ashburn, and you can join me here on Hochanda TV with some fantastic collectibles, memorabilia, and some superb hobbies that are going to get your head turning. So whether you're looking for a signed photograph, maybe of your favourite film star, maybe a sporting icon, possibly something to do with religion, we have it here. So join me on Hochanda.
Have you ever thought of becoming a member of the Hochanda family? Many of our shareholders are in fact customers, passionate and dedicated crafters whom we regard as part of our family and whom we treat like royalty. We are now giving you at home the opportunity to join our family, become a shareholder and be part of this success story. Visit us at www.hochanda.com/invest for more information.